Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our fall planning workshop. We're going to talk about back to school, fall events, and Christmas today. And joining us is our guest, Christie Penner Worden. Christie is the RaiseUpFaith. She is Chief Mission Officer at RaiseUpFaith. And we are very happy to be partnering with RaiseUpFaith and to have Christie joining us in the Children's Ministry Hive. Christie's joining us today from camp, so we'll actually hear the noises of family camp in the background, which is just about as beautiful as the noises of children in church. And so also joining us is my colleague Jane Schmatzer from the ministry team. Jane is going to be monitoring the chat, so if you have any questions or comments as we go through, we ask you to put those in the chat and she will monitor that for us. I did promise 2 surprises, and so at the end of our webinar today, I will tell you about our 2 surprises, and I think we'll just go ahead and get started. One thing I want you to know is that this presentation today is as much of a surprise for Christie as it is for you, because what I asked her to do was put on her children's ministry leader hat and come to this webinar and just reply and ask questions like you would as a children's ministry leader. And so here we go. And Christie, you can just feel free to interrupt or ask questions or make comments anytime along the way. At the moment, you're muted, so just remember.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what you have for us.
Well, thanks for taking time out from camp. So as I said, we're going to talk about back to school, trunk or treat, and children's Christmas. And trunk or treat is really just a general term for those kind of things that churches might do in the fall. But back to school, we'll spend just a few minutes on, as we do have a complete separate webinar talking about our Cultivating Kindness kickoff. That is ready for you now. The kit includes everything that you would need for as a leader and to get started for the first 6 kids that attend, and then you can order other pieces to fill that out. This works as back to school, like before school starts, or even in those early days of the school year, where you just want to make families feel welcome. And the What's for Dinner magazine is something new from We Are Kidmin that we are very excited to include in that kit. We are also selling it separately. You can send one home with every family. It is a beautiful magazine full of ideas to help parents really nurture kids in that faith experience. We also are always carrying, as most of you know, backpack tags and drawstring bags and other small handouts and takeaways for that backpack blessing or just to welcome kids back. Christie, any comments or questions before I move on?
Well, I'm assuming those crosses are the poppers that you pop with your thumbs. Is that right? Yeah, those are so popular right now. So even just giving them something tangible that all their friends are also going to have on their backpack, but giving them a reminder that Jesus is with them and it's something they can tangibly engage with, that's a great add-on to their backpack when they probably already want one anyways.
Right. Well, thank you. Yeah, this particular one glows in the dark. So you can see that little glow in the dark picture below. That is what it looks like when it's glowing. And then we have one that's yellow. That does not glow in the dark. It's just yellow, but a nice, bright, cheery yellow. Okay, I want to move on to fall. And as I have in here, if you can type in the chat, or Christie, you can tell me too, different names that you know churches call this. I see trunk or treat a lot more lately. I've also seen Night of Light. I've also seen Fall Festival. Do you have any others that you know of?
This is not something that is common in Canada. I'm in Canada, so this is something that I get to watch a lot of my colleagues do. Fall kickoff would be the only other one that I've heard it called, or fall kickoff, and it sort of is a ministry kickoff too, like all the events start lining up after that as well, leading up to Christmas.
Okay. Yeah. And here in the States, we'll have churches who will do it as an alternative to Halloween. So we'll sometimes put a category of Halloween alternative where, you can have something that puts a different focus on Halloween than the scary, bad things that are there. We also, I did not include pictures of them, but just want you to know that we have a lot of resources around these items that will help you simplify. So we've got flyers and invitations that you can use for publicity. We've got downloadable placemats if you're going to have an area where kids are doing activities or having a snack. And we've got water bottle labels if you just want to print those up and wrap them around water bottles and welcome people with those. The items that you see here are the value pack that includes the plastic tumbler and the very popular glow-in-the-dark bracelet, along with a goodie bag and activity book. We do have activity books for both ages 7 to 11 and 3 to 6, so you can have age-appropriate activities. And that little backpack tag there with on the keychain ring, that light bulb does light up. And so it's kind of a cool, I would say, take off on a flashlight that you can use. And then there is a glow-in-the-dark star backpack tag there too, that we have in a package with an activity book and the goodie bag.
Even that light bulb, like for kids that do go trick-or-treating, like we have really friendly trick-or-treating in our neighborhood. Like I live in a little village. We're always looking for things to help kids be visible for when they're crossing the street or hanging, like going out with their friends. So even that for kids that do go trick-or-treating and do have dress-up parties, that's a great thing to be giving to families to have as well, just to promote safety and being visible at night, even to hang it on their bike if they're out biking, because we're going to lose sunlight soon enough. It's going to start getting dark again. And so these are great things for the fall as the season changes, besides the event.
Awesome. Thank you. So also available for this fall is our very popular pumpkin prayer. I've been here at CTA for 19 years, and I think almost every year we've had some take on the pumpkin prayer because it's a beautiful way to talk about the gift of forgiveness, of grace in our lives. And so the little pumpkin prayer is a story that goes through the steps of carving a pumpkin and cleaning it out and makes faith connections. And it ends with shining God's love, and so you can see the light glowing from the pumpkin. And we do have 2 different value packs in that line depending on the age. So the one at the top that you see there is for ages 7 to 11. It's got the activity book with the plastic tumbler and then your goodie bag that will hold plenty of treats. And the one on the bottom has the activity book that we call Gospel Fun for little ones. That always means those are for ages 3 to 6 with simpler activities. And that little cross is actually about this tall. It's a glow-in-the-dark stand-up cross, so they can put it by their bedside stand. Fun story about that. We actually had some people purchase that and give it to their shut-ins so that they could have it on their bedside stand and it would glow at night. So not where we had intended it, but it's beautiful how God can use those things in a different way.
Yeah, even just like, I love the imagination for that, right? Like often the things we create, especially when we're creating them for kids ministry, we can't always anticipate the ripple effect of that. And just the simplicity of it, how it could bless somebody else. What's true for kids is also true for others. And so I love that. I love the pumpkin idea too. We try to make our home really inviting at Halloween. And so we'll stand outside even rather than, make kids walk all the way up the driveway or anything. And there are some houses that'll do pumpkins all the way down. And when you think about like, thy word is a lamp unto my feet, like just creating this, we each do a pumpkin and then sometimes the kids want to do 2. The one year we have this big front garden and we did twinkle lights and tiny pumpkins. So it looked like a pumpkin patch all through our garden. And so something like this just gives us another opportunity to talk about the light, to talk about Jesus as the light. All of these are just opportunities to engage with our kids in everything that we do. It reminds me of Deuteronomy 6, from the time you get up till the time you fall into bed at night. This is just one more way of taking something that we do that isn't, carving a pumpkin isn't a discipleship. It's not a strategic discipleship moment, but it is useful in discipling our kids in the everyday. I love that.
Yeah, I think so too. bringing that conversation in as many different ways as we can. All right, now I'm going to talk about Children's Christmas, and there's no picture here because I just want to set the outline first. We're going to talk about a family adventure that we have coming up, and you can see the word Advent emphasized in there, so it's for December. We're going to talk about lessons that actually Raise Up Faith is going to have available, and for the month of December as well. And then we're going to talk about gifts and the different areas you might need them or be able to use them, and so we'll get going here first with this is the Children's Christmas service that CTA provides every year. So when we're getting a line ready for our ministry leaders, we are creating 2 children's Christmas services in Word docs that can easily be edited for your purpose. One is for elementary level and one is for preschool level. And the difference is really the preschool is much simpler. It's a little bit shorter. It is more likely to have simpler songs and finger plays and things like that. For more than 25 years, I was in charge of our children's Christmas service every year at church. And what I did was I put the 2 Word docs up on my screen next to each other and would just put the preschool things in because our Sunday school was small enough that we had ages 3 to grade 8 all in the same service. And so then everybody could participate, and the congregation really loved it. I remember my favorite thing was we would be on the way to church and I would always joke to my family, you know what they're going to say afterward? This is the best one ever, because at the end of the service every year, this was the best one ever. And it was just so fun to have the kids involved in telling the Christmas story. So the beautiful thing here is you've got a whole service for you. You can use it as it is, or you can change up. We put in speaker 1, speaker 2. You can change it to the kids' names so that everybody knows where they're going to talk. You can have older kids leading, younger kids singing. I mean, it's really versatile, I would say, for that. And it's free. And it includes a song that we have specially written this year to go with the Love Came Down theme. And we have a recording with voices as well as a recording without voices. So depending on how strong your singers are, you can decide how you want to use that. I always use the recording with voices to teach it to the kids, which was nice and easy for our setting. There's also a read-along video that goes with the children's book, which is, I would say, our most popular children's Christmas product. I think children's ministry leaders can find a lot of different ways where it's appropriate, and you send it home and it's a real book. So families keep it with their Christmas things and they read it year after year. It's 16 pages, and on the last page, there's always a letter to the grownups with ideas for how they can talk to the kids or further the experience. And this year we have back this is not new for us, but it's usually very popular, that glow in the dark candle. So it's a snap and glow candle that then will glow, and people can use it at the service without having to worry about wax dripping on anybody's hands or a flame hitting anybody's hair or anything like that. I think I've mentioned most of the highlights. So I'll give you a chance to talk.
I'm just curious, when you say family-friendly children's Christmas, so you're talking about the whole church family together with elements that the kids can participate in, like we're talking all the church together. This isn't just a kids' church Christmas service. Is that correct?
So you can use it either way, yes.
Great, yeah.
What we did at my church, and I know other churches have done it too because they've sent us pictures. You can do it as the children leading the service for that day. So there are readings, there's telling the Christmas story, there's songs, like I said, finger plays for the little ones. And then the congregation can join in on the singing, or they can participate in some of the readings if you want them to, or they can just sit there, the adults. So it really depends on your setting. In the children's church setting, it could just be something that the kids participate in as part of children's church. I think you'd probably want to invite the parents anyway, so that they can see the kids doing it. But yeah, it involves the kids in that way.
I love that, because sometimes it's hard to cast vision for the senior leadership team or those who are like already also planning Christmas, to have all the elements that you can show and say, this is how it works, and these are the opportunities, these are the choices involved, and these are the ways we could do it, and to have flexibility there. I think it's really helpful for the planning team, because if you just come, I have experienced where if you just go to senior leadership and say, I think we should incorporate kids into the service. For people who don't work with kids, that sounds really hard and impossible. And like, well, what do you mean by that? And maybe you're not so far down the ideation track that you're ready to, I don't know, but I think I should try. This actually says, well, it could be a few different ways, and here are some thoughts and ideas about it. Yes. So I think it really equips the children's ministry leader to have that conversation as well, especially if their church hasn't done a full family friendly service before.
You're right. And I forgot to mention, but you reminded me, at the beginning of the Word doc, there is a whole section of like a letter to you as a leader, right? And it gives you ideas. If you want to do costumes, here are some really simple ways to do costumes. If you want to make this a bigger deal, here are some ways that you can make it a bigger deal. If you want to simplify, here are some ways you can simplify. So it does give you those ideas that when you go, you're exactly right, to your leadership team, you can say, here's how we can do it, and I've got it. You know, nobody has to dream it up. That's really a great observation. All right, I'm going to move on to the family adventure, which probably happens before the Christmas service. So this, for the churches that do Advent, happens sometime earlier in the month of December. And it really is to get families to be involved. You can do it, I would say, during your Sunday school hour. If you want to, you could do it on a Saturday morning and let the parents go shopping. Sometimes they do a parents' day out and the kids stay at the church or something. Or you can have the parents be there too. We do have in this particular one, the same We Are Kidmin, who provides the kindness What's for Dinner magazine, is going to have a love issue at Christmas time. And so we will include that in this pack. And so that's a great send home for families. We do have a little piece of it or bit for you that shows how you can talk to the parents about it and give them ideas for how to use it. This particular event is set up that there would be 4 stations, and at each station, they do more than one thing. So there are crafts, games, activities, and snacks, but multiple things that happen around a specific theme. And the different themes are shown in the 4 sleeves of figures in one Advent kit that you see in the middle there. So there's a station that coordinates with each of those characters from the Christmas story. And then you can use those sleeves in different ways. Either send one home every Sunday in the 4 Sundays before Christmas, or you can send them all home. There is a set of free family devotions that goes with it. So when they open up one sleeve at the beginning of each week, they have a devotion they can do with it. At the end of the devotions, or you can use it as one of the activities in your event, there is a stable that they can color, and then you can build to put the characters in front of at the end. So you're kind of building your nativity through the month of December. Not related to the activity, or to the event, but also usually very popular with children's ministry leaders is this craft. This is a foam ornament craft, and it comes in a plastic bag, and with everything that each child needs. So you don't have to sort out stickers, you don't have to sort out string, you don't have to find string, everything is there so that you can just use that as a craft, maybe a quick thing in a Sunday school lesson, maybe you add it to your event, maybe you send it home as something to do, or it could even be something that goes into quiet bags and kids can do it at their seat because it's pretty self-explanatory.
I just have what might be a silly question, but for my own clarification, what do you mean when you say sleeves?
Oh, so if you look at the picture by those stand-up figures, they are cardboard well, I don't know what another word besides sleeve, but like an envelope that the cards come in, and then the kids can pull them out of the envelope. So that way it's all packaged together for each of the 4 stations or each of the 4 weeks without the kids losing a piece here or there.
Great, thank you.
Yep. So related to all of this Love Came Down, as I said, is Raise Up Faith is putting together a collection of pieces from the Raise Up Faith curriculum that will work with the Love Came Down theme. Christy, do you want to talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, again, I just want to apologize if it's a noisy background, but these are all delightful families that have just come from chapel. So we love this sound. So Raise Up Faith is an online platform that hosts over 10,000 digital assets that help us do kids ministry and help kids and families find and grow in their faith from like on the internet. And it really is meant for the children's ministry leader to find what they need in order to build their ministry and their program week in and week out. So with each season of the church calendar, we try to build a collection that specifically meets that need. So our Christmas collection this year will also be called Love Came Down. We'll use the same art as the cover of the book to make it easy to, have that visual memory that these things work together. We do have a free forever account. So if you have a free account with Raise Up Faith, you can still click on it and get some of those assets. Some of them will still be available. With a subscription, you'll get all of the assets that work with this theme of Love Came Down. And it would the collection will include full lessons. It will include crafts, games, some songs. The song we're hoping to get also into that on Raise Up Faith. Also, the reading of the story will be available in that collection. So there'll be different ways of finding it. And it'll just give you more to pull from. Sometimes I found when I was stuck to one curriculum or subscribed to one curriculum, there's always something you want to change or a theme you want to dig into. And your curriculum, whatever you're working with week in and week out, they don't know you want to do Love Came Down. And so they might not be talking about that theme. And so you can add these resources to what you're doing to augment this theme and really promote the event as we lead towards it on the Sundays and Wednesdays or whenever you're meeting with families as well. So that will live on the Raise Up Faith platform. You can get a Raise Up Faith free forever subscription at RaiseUpFaith.com, and it'll walk you through the process. I know there is a benefit if you're an Advantage member with CTA with Raise Up Faith as well, but that collection of resources that help you do Sundays and every day of ministry in between and resource families, that whole collection will be very recognizable if you're using Love Came Down as well.
Thank you, Christy. Yes, and if you're looking for that, you can find it from the CTA site too. Just go to Children's Ministry, hover over Children's Ministry at the top of our page, and then go to Raise Up Faith Curriculum, and you'll be led right through to how to get a free forever account, which is the first step in getting those resources. And we're excited about partnering in that way. So really your whole December can be put together. You can use pieces from the curriculum. You can use the family adventure for a family event. And you've got devotions families can use through the month, as well as then a Christmas service. All right, I do want you to know that we have more Advent options than the Love Came Down family adventure this year. Very popular last year was our Advent wreath. In fact, it was so popular, we sold out pretty early, I think. And so we actually will bring more back for those people who want to do that. That is a cardboard, I guess, for lack of a better word, Advent calendar, but it has stickers that the children can place on the base there where you see those white circles, and they light the candles by attaching a flame on the different weeks. And again, each of these would have a set of devotions that the families can use through the month of December. The middle piece is a banner that the children build and add stickers and those family devotions then will talk about the meaning of the stickers. And then the last one is our felt tree, which is over 3 feet tall. And so it really has a beautiful presence. And we have added this year, this was not available last year, but it is new available this year, a set of Advent devotions that correspond with those ornaments. And so families can use them. We had several churches last year that gave out 1 tree per family and encouraged them to use them. I mean, it becomes a keepsake. It's a beautiful, high quality felt tree. But we've also had churches who use them at church in each classroom. And then there is, in the devotions that go with it, at the end, there are pages you can reproduce and send home. It has 26 days of Advent activities for the families. So really, regardless of where you end up using the tree, the devotions will carry through that meaning of what you're doing with it, and provide those activities that make it a special month for families.
Okay, so first of all, I want the felt tree. I love Advent calendars. I absolutely love them. And, you know, even the really crummy chocolate ones, you know, the cheap chocolate that you get at like the dollar store or whatever. My kids, they're all teenagers now. If it gets to December 1st and there isn't a really terrible chocolate calendar in their possession, they are not okay. Like apparently the quality of the chocolate is not the point. We have taught them well to enjoy terrible chocolate. It's a sad reality. I like to go for the Lindor ones or the Hershey ones. Like there's way more bougie chocolate calendars now, but they seem to be fine with the waxy ones. This is adorable. Felt is really popular among families. Like it's trending is what I mean as well. So like young families would look at this and it would absolutely be one of those a look and feel that they would want to include in their Christmas decor. The fact that it's so big makes it really appealing to little ones actually, because if you hung it at your height, they would be able to decorate it at my height, and that would be really fun. But it also points to, in conjunction with the Advent wreath, there seems to be a returning to traditions. Some of them have been lost. We know that lots of millennials, from that book, Hemorrhaging Faith, that came out years ago, we know there was a bit of an exodus in the church, and there's a returning to how did we get here? What are the foundations of our faith? What are some ways of teaching faith to our kids? And some of those really traditional values allow us to do that, or not values, but rituals even, like an Advent wreath. We know there's no such thing as an Advent wreath in the Bible. That doesn't make it not useful in telling the story. And so returning to some of these tools that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, some of these ways that historically the church has used to call us back to our heritage and our inheritance, they're really useful, and families are looking for them, because we are not living in an era of the church where we can presume that parents feel confident and competent in discipling their own kids. And so these tools that will recall a memory, you know, from their childhood or from their grandma's house, these things start to feel nostalgic for them. And then it's like, you know, when I was little, I would go to my grandma's, and those stories are the way memories are made. They pull on the olfactory senses, that smell of a candle being lit, the feeling of the felt in their hands. These will galvanize memories over time. It's why my kids don't care about the quality of the chocolate. It's this particular calendar from this particular place. We always get this kind. It's not that they want that chocolate, it's that they want the same thing. Creating traditions is actually the way of scripture. I mean, they crossed over the river, and what did Joshua say? Go back and get a stone. And when you place this stone, bring your kids back here and tell them this is what happened here. This is how memories are made. And when we make memories around the values and the faith stories and the foundation of what we believe, it's a place they can return to year over year over year. And I have found Advent calendars to be one of the best ways to return to those stories with my kids. And we do the same thing still. And my youngest is going to be 13 tomorrow. So we still do the same things, and that's the way they want it. So when we invest in these more substantial tools like this felt tree that, like you said, becomes a keepsake. There's something that happens for a child where they're like, where's the tree that we got when I was in kindergarten? And then guess what? They're going to want to take it with them one day. So I just love that this is a returning to some really traditional habits and rituals and storytelling facets of our faith. These are part of our inheritance. This is how for centuries we have told the story of Jesus coming to earth. I think also the word Advent helps us tell the story to kids that we live between the two Advents of Jesus. We are part of God's family that lives between his first coming and when he will come back and live and reign again. And so using the word Advent helps us tell that part of our faith story as well.
Yes, well, you saw me nodding my head. I will say, I talked to one of the children's ministry leaders who bought these for every family in her church. I mean, I was surprised because it's a significant investment. And she said, you know what, I didn't think twice about it because first of all, we have a lot of people in our church who want to support our family ministry. They really care about those young parents and the children. And second, the parents that we gave it to felt seen, respected, belonging. She said it was such a positive experience for the church to do that for those families. So I thought that was a really beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, moving on. We have talked about activity books for ages 3 to 6 and 7 to 11. And years ago, we had several children's ministry leaders say, hey, what about the babies? And so we were able to come up with these board books for ages birth through 5. And we have 3 separate ones available this Christmas. You can kind of choose which one works best for you. What I thought I would do is tell you a little bit about what's in them. The Joy, Joy, Joy one uses both rhyme and rhythm. And like it begins this way. Joy, joy, joy. Do you see the baby boy? And then goes on with that the beautiful little pattern that you can put in your voice that brings a lot of energy to it. These are just a few pages each. I have one here I can show you. So I don't know, can you see it fine? And here's the first page I just read to you, but then it goes on with, let's see here. Sing, sing, sing. He is our Savior King. And the rest of the story continues that way. 10 fingers, 10 toes. I really love the idea behind this one, which is to take the characteristics of a human baby and point out Jesus had those, right? 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 ears, and 1 nose. And that repeats even while telling the story. So helping the children identify with Jesus as a real baby. So always on this side, you'll have the 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 ears, and 1 nose. And then on this side, it will tell a little part of the story and it continues every time. And you can see simple language, larger font. So it really is made for those younger children. And then the last one is called In a Little Stable. So this one goes through and tells the story, but always incorporates in a little stable in a way that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't just say in a little stable. So the very first one says, this is a story, oh so true, a baby born for me and you in a little stable. And then the kids can look and see. The next one says, his parents walked a long, long way, then finally found a place to stay in a little stable. And so each time as it progresses, it will end up with that in a little stable. And, you know, I know kids' birth can't say it along with you, but as they get into their 2s and 3s and 4s, they love to be able to join in on those words or even to read the book to you. And they'll be right every time when they end with in a little stable.
I think these would be great to incorporate into the nursery and the toddler room at the church, right? And like, I think what often happens is I learned a habit as a kids pastor of rotating things in and out so that everything feels fresh and new. And it would be so lovely to rotate these books in and introduce them to your nursery and toddler workers. Say we've got 3 new books. If you're going to see a kid twice, maybe 3 times in December, they're not going to get sick of these. And there's 3 of them. So to be reading them and repeating them and having a child walking out on Sunday morning going, in a little stable, there's just something lovely about adding these to the collection in your nursery and having them special, like having new toys and new books. And I don't mean new as in you bought them new necessarily, but that change up, new resources for the season for those workers. I think that's lovely. And I think nursery and toddler workers often feel unseen and like they're just going to go in, and it can end up feeling like babysitting when really they understand that they are nurturing and part of the spiritual formation of these kids. And so resourcing them with brand new books is a really lovely way to say, hey, I got these so you could read these through the next few weeks to the kids when they come.
Yes, I agree. We also have people who send them home for the families because, again, it's another keepsake. And for churches where the kids are attending church together with the adults, sometimes they'll put them in quiet bags because the parent can easily whisper the story to the kids, or the kids can just look at the pictures too, which is fun. Okay, moving on. We don't want to forget those volunteers at Christmas time, and just want you to know we have a whole assortment of things for you. I picked a few of my favorites, but really there are pages after pages on our website that have some ideas for you. The first one I have here is an ornament of faith. We actually have 2 new designs this year, and I think 1 or 2 returning designs, and each one brings a faith message with it. The middle one is an LED pillar candle that has the greenery and those red berries inside the wax. So it's just glowing very beautifully. I think it can become a nice encouragement to a devotional life, or even just a nice gift that says, I appreciate what you've done and want you to know that I value you. And then the last one there is a whole gift set, but I chose it because it shows multiple things of what are available. So each of those can be purchased on their own, or this gift set kind of puts it all together in a way that it's a nice appreciation gift that you can use the gift bag, obviously, to put everything in. That book is a devotion book for the month of December. So it just has little 3-minute devotions that can be used every day in December. At the top, there is a notepad with a pen. I think pretty much everybody can always use a notepad, and it's kind of fun to have a seasonal one. And then down in the bottom is a Christmas magnet, reminding people, I hope, of the song Silent Night with the phrase, all is calm, all is bright, and the reason behind that.
I just love how elegant these are. You know, like sometimes there's lots of lovely ways to buy gifts for volunteers and to show appreciation, but these are really lovely things that I can actually imagine using, and they're not gifts that expect anything in return. Like sometimes I think we give gifts that you can use on Sunday morning while you're serving, you know, like here's a great new t-shirt that you can wear while you're volunteering, but this is just for you. Like it's truly just this generous thing that feels very adulty. Like it isn't even a nod to thanks for serving in kids ministry. It's like, I know you're a grown-up, and I know you probably don't decorate your house like you do a Sunday school classroom. So I'm going to give you something that actually is probably useful and lovely for you. And that's the first thought I had when you put this slide up is, this makes me feel like a grown-up. When serving with kids, sometimes we get really practical or we do really playful things, but this actually just honors the person and says, this is just for you. I see you and I appreciate you. Merry Christmas. And that's really delightful.
Well, thank you. That is our goal. So I'm really happy that that's how it struck you. We have often gotten the comment that these are gifts that will fit in someone's budget, and yet they feel like they're giving more than what they paid for. And so that feels like a nice way to appreciate the volunteers too, because it doesn't break the budget, but gives them something nice. And we've also had children's ministry leaders who have given that devotion book out and had volunteers say, thank you for realizing that I need my own devotional life too, and for supplying me with that. So that a little bit more information on that one. All right, it is time for surprises. So you may or may not know, we started a Friends program with our CTA brand, and the Friends program is a loyalty program with points, just like you're probably familiar with in many different ways. But today we are going to be awarding 1,000 Friends points to everybody who attended the webinar. All you need to do is send your email address to us at customerservice@ctainc.com by 11 a.m. Central Time today. No, I meant to put tomorrow. No, tomorrow is the 10th, right? Yeah.
Yes, tomorrow is the 10th.
I'm
yes.
stuck on days. So by 11 a.m. Central Time tomorrow, and we will just dump those points right in your account, and they will, you can use points toward purchasing things at CTA. The other second surprise today is we are asking you to bring more people into our Children's Ministry Hive, because we believe that it's going to be a really beneficial place for ideas and support and friendship. And so everybody who refers a friend or 10 will get 200 points for every friend you refer. So, but this is the way we need to do it. We need you to email your friend and then email us at customerservice@ctainc.com. And when your friend joins, then you will each get 200 points in your account. So we'll welcome them with Friends points. We'll thank you with Friends points. And those Friends points add up pretty quickly and then can go toward your purchase of Christmas, of fall, of volunteer gifts, whatever works for you. Okay, I am going to ask Jane, do we have any questions that we want to address at the end here?
No, Jane, we don't. We didn't have anybody. So you must have done an absolutely fabulous job of explaining everything. I think that the information that you shared is, it just shows how wide ranging the options are. And Christie, I just really, really appreciate the different viewpoints, somebody that wasn't involved with every decision, but sees the end product and says, wow, yeah, I see exactly how I could use this. So I hope that that's the reason we didn't have any questions is just because they were as entertained and glued to the screen as I was going through it. So thank you guys.
You're welcome. And Christie, I do want to thank you for being here with us today.
It's my privilege and my delight to be with you in this way. And it's pretty hard to be looking out over a lake when it's like, well, I was going to say 26 degrees, but that sounds cold to you. 26 degrees Celsius, thinking about Christmas, but I don't think anyone in kids ministry isn't already thinking about Christmas at this time.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I want to say there are a few things in here that I showed today that will not be available until September, but there'll be plenty of time for you to get them. And you're welcome to go on our website and click the notify me button, and we'll send you an email as soon as they are here. We just didn't think you needed them in August. So thank you all for being here. We look forward to next month, the second Wednesday of September, and where we'll meet up with Christie again. We will actually be at the Kids Matter conference, and we're going to go live at the conference. We're going to talk about what's there. We're going to show you the RaiseUpFaith booth and the CTA booth, and I think it'll be very fun and exciting. So till then, goodbye.